Donald Trump has until Monday to pay his bond. He owes nearly $500 million in penalties in the New York fraud case. And if he doesn't pay up, the state of New York could seize some of his most prized assets. And while Trump may soon get $3 billion in a merger deal involving his Truth Social platform, the money won't come in time to solve his current cash crunch.
Where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Trump built his name and his persona in big gold letters all over some of the Big Apple's most high-priced addresses.
Trump Tower would be the thing I'm really married to in terms of real estate.
Now, he's at risk of having some of them taken away.
I built a net worth of way over $10 billion.
Mr. President!
Despite those claims, a New York court ruled last month Trump lied for years about his wealth, and it's ordered him to pay $454 million in penalties.
We have a lot of cash and we have a great company, but they want to take it away.
So far, Trump hasn't been able to pony up the money or find lenders willing to underwrite the fine. And while he hopes the state appeals court will give him more time, the Attorney General is ready to start collecting, with her eyes set on a particular Trump asset.
Yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
Meanwhile, Trump's friends are passing the hat for the former president, with no takers so far.
Will you loan him the $460 million?
None of his billionaire friends are ponying up money, from what I understand. I've been asking them.
Here with me today, New York Times contributing writer Jane Coaston, Ryan Salam, president of the Manhattan Institute and contributing writer at the National Review, Catherine Rampell, a Washington Post opinion columnist and special correspondent at PBS NewsHour, and Jonah Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Dispatch. He's also a columnist at the LA Times. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so Catherine, you saw the hat passing, the kind of shaking of the jar.
The telethon.
Exactly. Why won't anyone bail him out? We heard, 30 bond companies saying no.
I think the better question is, why would anyone bail him out? I mean, how much money do you want to light on fire, basically, for this guy? It turns out that if you get in trouble for fraudulently inflating the value of your assets, then nobody wants to accept those assets as collateral for effectively a loan to you.
Right.
And beyond that, beyond the fact that his property, is questionably valued. We don't know how indebted he is. We don't know how much equity he has in these things. If he becomes president again, presumably it would become very difficult to collect. He's also a guy who's known for not paying his bills. He brags about not paying his bills. If you tried to collect once he's in office, who's to say he won't sick the DOJ or Treasury on you? I just think that there's no upside to stepping up here.
Ryan, you're wearing a very nice suit. Let's pretend you are an insurer or a multi-billionaire. Would you want to give Trump the money?
Well, if someone who believes that Donald Trump realistically can win the presidency, I would argue that actually the Attorney General of New York trying to seize his landmark properties would actually be something that will help him rather than hurt him in his effort to win the presidency. Exactly. And also, look, another thing is that if I were someone who was going to make a, $500 million in-kind campaign contribution to a very controversial presidential candidate, I might think that the spotlight gets turned on me in terms of whether or not prosecutors in New York City, New York State, other blue jurisdictions might start looking at my finances and otherwise putting me under the microscope in a way that I might find uncomfortable.
Okay,
so it's not obvious to me that it would make sense.
It's interesting. You're bolstering an argument from the Wall Street Journal because the editorial board calls the bond inflated. They say it denies him due process. So, Jane, from your point of view, does this play into his ongoing argument, this is a persecution, this is a witch hunt, this is going after me unfairly?
Donald Trump losing at tiddlywinks would play into his argument that he's being treated unfairly. Anything can be part of an argument that he is being treated unfairly. So I think that...
But is seizing his property is the right move?
I think seizing his properties is likely what is going to take place if he doesn't make this payment on Monday. I think that whether it is material to how he will spin this for the media or spin this for the people who wish to support him, I think that's a separate issue. But something I do want to note here also, something you didn't mention, Ryan, is Trump is, shall we say, easily convinced. And we've seen on the recent TikTok debate that he received a large donation from one of the major funders of ByteDance and suddenly seemed far more enthusiastic about the platform than he was previously.
Right, in this moment when it's about to be banned.
If I had $500 million and needed someone to loudly talk about how great it would be if I had more power, then maybe I might loan him some money.
Okay, well, we're going to leave that there because we'll know on Monday, right? We'll have an answer. That's his number one legal problem. Let's turn to his number two problem, which is his number two pick, running mate. So this week, a surprise name was added to the list, his potential vice president list, and it's especially surprising because of the way he's spoken about this person in the past.
I call him Little Marco, Little Marco. Hello, Marco. They hate him in Florida.
Okay, so CNN reporting that Marco Rubio, his stock is up on the VP list. Jonah, okay, that face. How do you feel about this choice?
I think it's kind of sad. I think it's not entirely surprising. I don't think the fact
For Rubio or for Trump?
It's more for either. I think that Rubio, he came to Washington as a Tea Party guy, and now he's basically sort of an industrial policy kind of guy. And I suspect that he'll, if offered, he would take it. And I don't think he would be a bad pick. I generally think, though, this is my own pet theory, is that Trump's advisors, maybe not Trump himself, recognize the fact that he's actually a pretty odds-on favorite to be impeached once he becomes president. He's going to be on a shorter leash than people think. And they need a vice president that scares the dickens out of people. It can't hurt his chance of getting reelected, but they need to have somebody that they can hold up like a Medusa's head and say, hey, look, you kick me out, you get this person.
We'll stop there because the next question makes sense on this. Someone else who looks like she's kind of auditioning or a public audition, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. On Friday, out of nowhere, she decided to file a motion to oust Speaker Mike Johnson. And it's interesting because, she's really popular with the small donors. She's out there with Trump as a great surrogate. Brian, is she the kind of person who we should keep an eye on?
No, I don't think so. Just because Donald Trump, is very shrewd politically. He understands where his vulnerabilities, where does he need to shore up his support. And Marjorie Taylor Greene speaks squarely to folks who are going to crawl over broken glass to vote for him in November. What he's going to do is find who are folks that he can draw into his coalition rather than find someone who's going to repel people that he might need in those 7 swing states.
Right. Part of this is going by the old metrics or the Trump metrics of who to choose. Lightning round. Who do you think he should pick, but who do you think he will? Jane.
I think he will pick someone like Governor Kristi Noem, someone who is a face, quite literally. He likes people who are attractive and presentable. She is a...
And will?
And will... I'm out of the predictions game. I gave that up 8 years ago.
Respect.
Out of the game.
Catherine, you should, will.
I was going to say probably both should and will, Kristi Noem. For similar reasons, although I would also add that it might be helpful at a time that the Republican Party is facing challenges with suburban white women voters. In the wake of Dobbs, having a woman on the ticket might be helpful.
All right, Donna, should, will?
Should would probably be someone like Tim Scott or Marco Rubio. Will probably someone like Nancy Mace, who fits that sweet spot of being appealing to women voters, or at least that will be the theory, but also scary enough that people aren't going to want her to be president of the United States.
Okay, lots of times to talk more about this.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put EVAC on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
The Megatron.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds, give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the All-Star.
National security advisor. Stand down. Check it out. There is a celebration for the amateurs for suicide mission.